Hi, I'm Sam,
Hello, I'm Mike.
and we are
Huge nerds.
Today, we're here to talk to you about something that we really enjoy, Tokusatsu.
Tokusatsu.
Anything?
Oh yeah.
Oh, fucking! I thought you were gonna take it.
Oh.
Whatever. Whatever. Tokusatsu is a style of filmmaking, like a storytelling genre, basically, that includes stuff like Power Rangers or Super Sentai or Kamen Rider. It's basically anything live action with special effects, and even goes as far as stuff like Godzilla or monster movies like King Kong in America, or Dwayne Johnson's new movie Rampage.
Wait, that's technically Tokusatsu?
Yeah, it's live action with special effects in it, and it's a freaking kaiju movie.
Oh yeah, because it's. Oh yeah, that's what we tend to call like video game movie too. Because that Rampage is from an actual video game.
Yeah, I almost forgot Rampage is an old arcade game.
I'm so surprised I was even that thing.
Oh yeah. But anyway, a little bit back on topic. As soon as we said Power Rangers, I'm sure a lot of you are very tempted to shut this video off and click away. But just hear us out, all right? We're college students, and we still watch Power Rangers.
Hell yeah.
And, I mean, honestly.
I mean, if you're still able to watch like Courage the Cowardly Dog or or any of the old cartoons, don't judge us. If you still watch the old 90s cartoons, then yeah, you don't have the right to say anything.
I mean, I don't want to come out here being all self-righteous.
Oh
or
yeah,
anything, but,
yeah.
The reason why Toku resonates with me so much is it's really cool. Like, when you think about it, it's super cheesy, but it reminds me of anime. And since anime has become more and more mainstream in the past few years, I feel like a lot more people have gotten back into stuff like older Power Rangers seasons, or even jumped ship over to the original Super Sentai or the very first Kamen Rider.
Oh yeah, I can probably see that.
I don't know if anybody's watched the 1971 series, and
I saw even clips of it. It looks very weird.
oh yeah, man, like even going back to the Sentai where their morphing sequence was literally just them taking the suits and actually putting them on.
Battlefield J.
Oh man. But what we're here to talk about today is why Power Rangers specifically, but like all Toku, is not just for kids anymore.
I'll go with it. I'm gonna go over the history.
Yeah, go for it.
Alright, so to explain about like the little bit of the history of the Power Rangers, basically Saban Brands actually went to Japan like on a business trip, and then when he was at his hotel, he was watching Super Sentai. Jetman came up.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
and that's how it all really started. And
It's like one of those meeting in an elevator kind of things.
Yeah,
Like that's when
basically.
ours got started.
Yeah, and then ever since then, he's just been trying to get Power Rangers over here in America. He tried to get some Vulcan with like a deal with Marvel. It was this close.
Oh yeah, there were 3 or 4 deals that just barely fell through.
Yeah.
Until finally we got the first season of Q Ranger, I think. Was it Q Ranger?
No, it was
Zoo Ranger.
Zoo Ranger. Q Ranger was like last year.
Yeah, Q Ranger's very new.
Yes.
Very similar names.
I was-
Zoo Ranger was the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that a lot of people know and love. And I just think it's really interesting that basically we got Power Rangers because Saban was kind of a weeb.
Yeah. It's interesting, that like how Saban really tried to get this together, but then it actually like miraculous hope that this is gonna work. Like, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like they had to recasting the Yellow Ranger, and like after one reshoots and everything, it actually worked, and a lot of people thought it was not gonna be successful, but
Oh yeah, Power Rangers has defied the odds multiple times. Like at the end of the first Saban era, which was what?
It would be Mighty Morphin all the way up to In Space.
Yeah, In Space was supposed to be the last season, and well, we all know that didn't happen.
Oh no,
because
it's
we've
still
gone
going
far past In Space because Disney picked it up. Disney wasn't the juggernaut that it is today. It was still a smaller thing.
Actually, I made a mistake. The Saban era, I accidentally did the Zordon era. It was Mighty Morphin all the way up to halfway up Wild Force.
Oh really?
Yeah, because Wild Force is technically a Saban / Disney show because Disney bought us during Wild Force and they said, you know what, can we start working on it during Wild Force? They said, yeah, go right ahead. And that's when the dark things started to come in.
That's when it took off. Like, yeah, Power Rangers really took off, but it also became a lot more lighthearted when Disney took over for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah.
When you have Power Rangers alongside Disney cartoons, like, oh god, what would have been at the time?
Ooh.
The first Power Rangers series I remember seeing was back when Disney Channel was still called Jetix.
Oh my god.
That was when you had stuff like American Dragon Jake Long on Disney Channel. And although that show was really good, it was also really lighthearted and definitely for kids. So you wouldn't see stuff like, I don't know, Kendrick's dying in Lost Galaxy. You didn't see any of that in the Disney era.
Yeah, I guess like more like, yeah, it got like lighthearted when it first started up with like, you know, Ninja Storm and then when they did Battle Thunder. I think right up to like RPM. That's when
RPM was it was the last season of the Disney era.
Yes.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And that was a surprisingly deep and like oddly dark season for a Disney season.
Oh yeah.
The Vengex virus, and then finding out that the Mentor was the actual cause of it all. Like, when I was a kid, that blew me away.
Oh my goodness, and like.
But it was also like the most Disney season. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
With the fourth wall breaking references to why is there an explosion every time I morph?
Oh yeah, and also like how they said they even made fun of Sentai a bit. Like
oh really? This I didn't know.
Okay, so there's actually a scene, you know, since RPM is an American adaptation of Vengeance Sentai Go Onger.
Yeah.
And they had, in the Japanese version, they had a van that said Go Onger.
Mm-hmm. And
when they had to go find, I think, like some energy signatures outside of the domed city of Corinth, they brought in the van Go Onger. And when the blue, since he scouted it, she mispronounced it, which is funny. And then,
that's great.
And then actually made like a whole operation name out of the Sentai, and they actually drove around in the van. And then
okay, that's a lot of fun.
And then like I think later on in either a previous episode, Ziggy said with the morpher, why is there always an explosion? Right. And then Scott brought out something. He's like, yeah, now I have a question. Why does my sword have eyes?
Yeah.
And then Dr. K's like having a whole spiel, and everyone's like asking questions, and I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. So if you couldn't tell, we really like RPM. RPM is widely regarded as like the perfect season of Power Rangers, essentially.
I'm actually rewatching that right now.
Oh really?
I'm on like the end game right now.
Okay. And it's a far cry from stuff that's considered really bad, like Operation Overdrive.
I actually never watched Operation Overdrive.
It's not great. The characters are really flat, and for a Disney season, it just isn't as much fun to watch, sadly.
Damn. It's because when I saw like the overall theme, like, you know, treasure hunters, so I was like thinking of Indiana Jones type of style.
Yeah, no. But it just ends up being a huge cluster of bad. Because at first you have two warring enemy factions of the fire side and the ice side, and then there's the Power Rangers in the middle. But then there's like a third faction of like aliens that show up.
Oh, isn't that those weird cat people?
I think so.
Okay.
And then like there's all the villains that work together, but they're all backstabbing each other.
Oh yeah, like the cat people, the ninja people, and then others.
And while it could have been cool, it just ended up like I didn't care.
Yeah.
And while you may think it's easy to just look at shows like that and judge all of Power Rangers and all of Tokusatsu by something like that with really cheesy dialogue, and the only thing that was actually good about it was the morph sequence, essentially. Like, flat storylines, flat characters, not really in development.
But special effects, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's really easy to look at this whole genre and say, well, it's just, you know, flashiness to sell toys over top of everything else. And while that may be true for some seasons, I really have an emotional attachment to a lot of characters, which I didn't expect going back and watching some seasons.
Yeah, like, I think my first ever season ones I ever watched as a kid was actually Wild Force, and then second season was Time Force. It's kind of weird. It's like
you got two of the best back to back.
It's weird and it's funny because after watching that, that's when I started to notice, oh, Disney. Yeah. And then after all that, like I do agree, like Tokusatsu has a really big implant on some people, especially myself. You know, back when I was like in middle school, like that's when I was going through like a phase type of deal. I don't know, not really a phase, but something. You know how kids can be cruel back in high school.
Yeah,
they can like judge you for whatever you do.
That's why I didn't tell people that I still watch Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, I didn't do that either. But some of my friends who knew that, they already told people about that. And sometimes, like, once they did that, I was automatically an outcast. And then
you were the Power Rangers kid, yeah.
Yeah, I was that kid. And then after a while, just, going to the high school, I think a lot of people forgot about that. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then
especially if you can have other interests, it's easy to fit in as well.
Yeah, like I'm just letting you know. I'm into other stuff than that. So
yeah, this is just something that we wanted to talk about because it's something that has a lot of I guess negative stigma that's attached to it.
Yeah, especially right now, what's going on with the PR.
What do you mean?
Okay, so
with the recent seasons having been awful.
Yeah, it's especially
Thanks, Neo Saban.
Yeah. It's just like a lot of people on YouTube even said, a lot of people actually grew up with the Disney era and how serious sometimes the stories can go and how Power Rangers, like the Disney brain even said in his recent video, which I watched, is saying all types of media can tell a really great story.
Oh yeah.
It's just depending on how well it does.
Anything can make a good story. I watch pro wrestling and that can tell good stories. You wouldn't think about it, but stuff like that relates back again to Tokusatsu, which relates back to anime, which can relate back to normal TV shows.
And heck,
normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as the story is interesting and you get invested, nothing else matters.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes even even Spider-Man had his own Megazord at one point back in
Really?
Yeah, Spider-Man had his own Megazord back in the 70s. This was almost when Saban almost had some Falcon. This is so close to making a deal with Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
They tried it out with Spider-Man actually having a mech. It didn't work well. It got low ratings real quick. And they're like, nah, man. We tried it, but it didn't work so well. So that's why Marvel. That's what I think why Marvel didn't continue with that.
Yeah.
But it shows. They still reference it still for the comic books. I think the Spider-Verse volumes.
Possibly because Spider-Verse is all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But back to our point, if you're looking for just fun, just something to watch and have a good time watching, Power Rangers is a very good option. You could watch stuff like Ninja Storm or, a lot of seasons of really good, just fun. Ninja Storm, Jungle Fury. Well, Jungle Fury is also one of the best at storytelling and deep characters. It's just a fun season.
I would say if you really like the Terminator movies, RPM is a good one too.
Yeah.
If you really like serious storytelling and you could really relate to the characters, actually the cast of RPM are doing very successful right now.
Really?
To this day. Scott, the Red Ranger, he's actually in Jessica Jones.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In Netflix. He's the druggie.
Oh, okay.
In the show. The Yellow Ranger, he's in another Netflix show called I Eat Brains. So I forget what the others are doing, but I know a lot of them are doing really great for themselves.
And it's not like going into Power Rangers is a death sentence for actors. They can go on and do other things, which shows that it's not like if you jump in on this, you're dead set on the genre. And that's how it is as a fan, too. Mm-hmm. You don't have to put your whole heart into Tokusatsu. You can just say, oh, hey, this one series is pretty cool, or maybe I like a couple episodes of this, or like I did for a while. Like I just wanted to watch like theme song compilations or morphing compilations while I was just didn't have much else to do.
Yeah, like when I was like in that phase, you know, with like, should I even watch it anymore? Because even though I still liked it, I was still getting like neglected and being like cast aside. I was like, you know, debating if I even watch it. But then like around, I was still thinking about it. But then I was like going on YouTube. I was watching a morphing compilation, and then like that's how I got introduced to Kamen Rider. And then they announced a new Sentai, Kaiser Sentai Gokaiger.
Right.
And-
Gokaiger's amazing, by the
and
way.
After watching that entire season, like, you know, overall, like the entire season from start to finish, it brought the energy right back.
Oh yeah, like I feel like Tokusatsu is a thing sort of like Pokemon, where when you're a kid you're like, yeah, you're so into it and all your friends are like watching it or playing it, and then you get to middle school or high school and people sort of like grow out of it or like mature past what they think it has to offer. And then you get to college and everybody's like, yeah, we don't care anymore, go ahead. Like,
Yeah, if it doesn't hurt you, it
all
doesn't
of my
hurt you.
friends in college have played more Pokemon games since I have come to college than I have played in the past like 5 years.
Some of my friends, you know, my friends are weird. But I have a very diverse group of friends. Like some are, you know, some are more into Marvel, some are more into DC, some are more into Star Wars. I'm like a combo meal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like there's like a big section of like Marvel right here, a big section of Star Wars here, and then like there's also a big section of Tokusatsu right here.
Oh yeah, like I personally just love pretty much everything. I watch anime, I watch Togu, I love both Marvel and DC, although DC, please pick up your live action movie game. Please.
I'm not the only one who thinks this.
Wonder Woman was your best movie. Just run with that kind of style, please.
I still haven't seen Justice League.
Me either, sadly. I actually do want to watch it, besides, like, even with the negative reaction. I feel like it'd be a fun movie.
Yeah, it looks like a fun movie.
And one of the things I really like about shifting into the Tokusatsu community more as I've watched a little bit more of it is how nice the community is. Like, we got people like you who, as soon as I brought up, like, hey, I'm kind of interested in Kamen Rider, you were just like, yes, here's like 5 seasons you can watch. Go, my child, enjoy this.
Oh, my child.
Like,
Yes.
that was exactly how it felt, and it was just great. And going online into like forums or into the YouTube Toku community has been amazing. There are just so many people with cool theories or analysis videos about the different seasons, and even like there are so many where to start lists online and videos that you can find where it's like, if you watched it when you were a kid, here's some stuff that'll like show you the more mature side. If you're just getting into it, here's some stuff you can watch for fun.
Yeah,
It's so welcoming and so great.
it is really great. It's just, in the past I really haven't really interacted in the Tokusatsu community as much because, well, I'm always self-aware what I say on Facebook or anywhere because I
Yeah.
don't want to offend anyone. So,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but as of now, I just don't care.
Okay.
So I joined like I think 2 groups on Facebook, the LGBT Power Ranger group, and they have been so awesome lately. They've seen like people joining fan art and stuff like that.
Oh,
a lot of people are really talented.
There's so many cool people in the community, and
Power Rangers gets a lot of, you know, bad reputation, I guess you could say, because it doesn't get like my one friend, he saw the Shattered Grid trailer, like with Lord Dragon and that one. He said, "Oh, we're finally getting the first evil Ranger," and I'm like, "Ha, no."
Well, I think it's because a lot of people forget just because they haven't watched Power Rangers in a long time or any kind of Sentai anything.
Or anyone who hasn't watched Power Rangers as a kid, or maybe they just watch like 1 or 2 episodes and then, you know,
or they just moved on, you know?
Yeah, that too.
And I think they forget that one of the most commonly complained about tropes is the evil ranger, because it's been done so many times, all the way back from the original season with Tommy Oliver, one of the most iconic characters in Power Rangers history, up to when was the last one?
The last evil ranger we ever gotten. Ooh, that's a. I guess you could say the last evil rangers we gotten were like the Spirit Rangers from Jungle Fury. How they started off evil, but like with a couple of episodes, and then they came in. That
was pretty recent, but we haven't gotten one since the Neo Saban era started.
No, we have not.
With Samurai.
We almost got an evil ranger for Dino Charge, like the Talon Ranger. They actually emphasize it in like seasons 1 and 2, but I heard multiple things about this, about why Death Fuger wasn't in Dino Charge because of his name in Japan called Death Fuger.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is, White Dino Thunder Ranger, his Japanese name was Abare Killer, basically Ranger Killer.
Yep.
And so I guess in Nickelodeon's terms, they couldn't,
Yeah, they couldn't translate it. They couldn't use it.
They could have but even in the toy, they even got it. It says Talon Ranger and Engage, and then the morphine sound effects and stuff like that, and the morpher. So there was an idea there to bring it back. Either that because of his name, or they just didn't know how to introduce him in the show because of the short episode lines. Because now in the Neo Saban era, you have to go to episodes 1 through 20, add 2 more episodes because of the holiday specials.
Yeah.
And then go to a second season.
I find it so weird that the Neo Saban era has pushed super seasons so much, because instead of just letting them have the one long season with more development time, they have to push out like a season finale, which is really just the halfway point, and then shift into a different one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think especially nowadays, if you watch the Power Rangers right now that's being run by Nickelodeon, which I do think that Saban is actually taking notice right now and wants to rebrand everything.
Really?
And, because what happened is that Hasbro bought the toy license for Power Rangers, right?
Oh, okay.
And there has been talk about Hasbro buying the Power Rangers franchise.
Oh, that's really interesting. Then where would it air? Would it still be on Nickelodeon, or would it shift back to Disney?
It would be. It's
because I've heard rumors about it shifting back to Disney Channel.
Yeah, I think so, because Hasbro owns a lot of properties. Transformers is one of them,
and that's on what, like Discovery?
Yeah.
All the recent Transformers series, including Transformers Prime, watch that. It's really good. Have been on whatever variant of like Discovery Kids. When it went from Discovery Kids to the Hub Network, back to Discovery Family.
That's probably where we gotta put Power Rangers, like the Hub Network. And then there's also we actually got a confirmation what the next season is. They're going back this time to Go
I thought
Busters.
That was so funny, because they skipped it and now they're like, oh yeah, we want to make it,
because
instead of moving on to something like Q Ranger.
Yeah, I think with that, it's just like there was actually many outline stories for the adaptation of Go Busters. There was talk about bringing the Vengeance virus back.
What? That would be amazing.
And having Dr. K come back, Lost Galaxy Red Ranger coming back, and some other older Power Rangers
that
coming back.
That would actually be so good.
And actually going back to the city of Terraventure. Like you know that weird sky city that was in Lost Galaxy went up to space.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna bring that idea back.
Oh wow! If they actually do any of this, I'll be really happy.
Same.
Just because a lot of those characters are so well known and beloved.
But as of now, if you read the plot synopsis, it sounds like Vengeance is gonna come back, because in the
all I've seen is a bit of promotional art stuff with like the
new logo
suits and stuff, and the new logo for Beast Morphers. And I'm actually so sad, because Go Busters was a spy-centered Sentai series, and now they're making it another animal-themed Power Rangers.
Actually, now it's actually a animal-themed / military-themed.
Okay, we haven't had that before.
Yeah, and let me pull up the thingy, like the plot synopsis for Beast Morphers. Actually, I got a notification about Beast Morphers actually auditions. I was gonna audition for it, but then I'm like, they said, you need to be at least athletic, and I'm like, well, shit. Well,
yeah.
But they said, the age limit goes up to 35, and I'm like, I got time.
Yeah.
Let me get its plot. I didn't put plot synopsis because.
But moving on from Power Rangers. After this, I guess.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I've taken a step in with Tokusatsu is probably Kamen Rider, which I came to Kamen Rider the same way you did after watching a Power Rangers Morph compilation. I saw in the corner on the up next thing, it was a Kamen Rider Henshin / transformation compilation. And I went, what the heck is Kamen Rider? And I've just sort of spiraled into the fandom from there.
Yeah, that's how I got really introduced to the fandom, really. Like, realizing it's not just, a few selective things, like Power Rangers. I knew, like, Beetleborgs was a thing, and I'm like, Beetleborgs looks like crap. Even I said that as a kid.
Yeah.
But then I got introduced to Kamen Rider. Again, actually, same story. Morphing compilation and all that stuff, and then Henshin compilation.
Yep.
And then, oh my god, Kamen Rider. And then one of the first seasons I ever watched was Kamen Rider Ryuki. And then,
which is a very well recommended season.
Exactly.
Ryuki is amazing.
Hunger Games meets Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah. If Sentai had a Hunger Games season, it would be Ryuki.
It would be.
And I really recommend looking that up, Kamen Rider Ryuki, and watching that. Because even though it's from a few years ago and the special effects and all that might not be up to standard for stuff these days, it's still a really solid season with cool themes. It's one of the more mature seasons that I've ever seen even bits of. And the battle royale nature of it appeals to people who've seen stuff like the Fate anime series or read the Hunger Games and liked it for more than just the strong female lead.
Yeah. I think, like, if you are a person who liked Power Rangers as a kid and you kind of took a break from it, I say, go with Kamen Rider. I say that's like it's kind of like the growing up point, because Kamen Rider is basically the bigger brother.
Kamen Rider's the edgy older brother of Power Rangers and Sentai, because it never really had that transition period where it started to appeal to like really young audiences.
Mm-hmm.
It's always just sort of been the middle schooler to like high schooler teenage tokusatsu series that, like, after you watch Super Sentai or Power Rangers when you're a kid, you can unashamedly watch Kamen Rider, especially stuff like, oh my god, Kamen Rider Amazons.
Actually, that's actually
cannibalism.
Actually, is now in America now. Amazon,
really?
Amazon Prime. They just they uploaded it like the first season, actually a couple days ago.
Wow, Amazon Prime is a blessing.
Yeah, and like full subs, and I think probably like next couple of months, maybe season 2, including the movies, I think. So, and right now it's getting like 5 out of 5 stars.
Wow.
On Amazon Prime. So
that's insane.
If you are interested in watching Kamen Rider and you want to see cannibalism, go right ahead.
It's just one of the big themes from what I've heard. I haven't watched it personally, but you said you loved it.
Oh my god, it's so many messages with this one. It's like who is like the real monster? Is it you or the other person? Because there's these monsters called the Amazons. They're like human experimented monsters, and like with various animal themed. There was legitimate an elephant that does cannibalism, which is weird. But going besides that, it has a really good message of like who you really are as a person. You know, like really testing actually giving like the testing practice what you preach.
Oh yeah, like, because there are so many people, myself included, who will be like, oh, I want to be a good person and I want to, like go out there and do stuff for other people besides myself. But like, if you don't have to do something like community service, I'm not sure if even I would have,
Yeah.
because it's just such a God, it's just such a moral thing where our society pushes being a good person, but we all want to be a good person like for ourselves and not for other people.
Yeah, with going off of that, like our main character goes through that so much because he says he wants to eliminate the Amazons, and at one point, but then his morals are changing, realizing, you know what, even the human organizations are shit. So he says, I will eliminate anyone who pushes harm to others. And that gets played off so many times because his morals are constantly changing left and right. And he wants to protect the Amazons who are legitimate trying not to eat humans. Like, sometimes even you
Hey
see...
there, Tokyo Ghoul fans.
So, like, some, like, Amazons, like, are, like, legitimate starving themselves to death so because they don't want to eat humans. And they're trying to find other ways to, like, get that meat craving.
Yeah.
And, like, hey, this is how I think how the Amazon system works. If they eat enough, like, because how they said is they need to eat enough protein, so our main characters have to eat about like a huge stack of hamburgers and not have to lose that much weight, and which I wish I had that power.
Oh my God, if I had the ultimate superpower, having a high metabolism.
Exactly, and then but if they even take a sample of blood from someone or like because this happened even in an episode. One of our characters eats a burger, but then realizing, oh, wait, that burger isn't a cow meat.
Oh, Jesus.
It's actually a human burger. And
I feel like that was the plot of Kingsman 2.
Oh, my God, yes. He didn't realize it because all this shit's like fighting left and right. They didn't know what was happening with the humans. And they realized he got knocked out of his monster form. He was like, I need to have meat because it helps increase his powers. So he's like, oh, having a cheeseburger. He ate it. He didn't care. He didn't know what it was. And then later on in the episode, he got a new craving. He couldn't eat cheeseburgers anymore because he thought it was disgusting. But now, and then you can kind of guess how the season finale goes.
Yeah.
Well,
moving past our hearty endorsement of Kamen Rider Amazons on Amazon Prime, if you want to watch new Kamen Rider, Amazon's is a good place to start because it's brand new, only a couple years old. Build is the newest season, and I love it.
To be the one, to be the one.
Yeah, the theme song is very catchy. I've gotten it stuck in my head multiple times over this semester. Very hard to get rid of, and sometimes I don't want to because it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But the season deals with basically corrupt governments.
And having that message of who you are as a person. Again. Because
the main character has amnesia, and he wasn't exactly a good person before getting amnesia. So
he tries
without spoilers, just want to say that like one of the big themes is you can be your own person regardless of what you've done in the past.
Yeah.
What you do now and in the future is more important. And
exactly.
I think that's super great.
Especially
like a really good message.
Especially like as a person, you know, in case like you have done some harm, like if you were like a bully or you may have said some really messed up things and you want to fix that, you can still redeem yourself in the future. It just takes a long effort to do that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's what Build is so amazing.
And in terms of if you want to watch Super Sentai, I would recommend very heartily either Zoojer. It's zoo, like circus based almost, with animal transformations, and it's just a fun season, so you can get away from all this heavy moral dilemmas with your Power Rangers.
That too.
Super Sentai. But
there's Lupin Ranger versus Pato Ranger.
Boy, don't even get me started.
If you like cops and robbers type of vibe, and like
it's got such a good cat and mouse type.
Oh yeah,
deal.
cat and mouse deal, and then like really good soundtrack with the jazz music and all that. It's a really good season.
I love the music. It breaks the traditional Sentai formula because instead of having a single team of 3 or 5 at the beginning, it starts off with 2 teams of 3 that are competing with each other, and without going into too much plot detail, it's a lot of fun to watch, but also there's it's a good mixed season, I think, because although the visuals are fun and a lot of stuff they end up doing, like the way they, especially the Lupin Rangers, the thief Sentai Lupin Ranger, that's an oxymoron for you. The way they fight is a lot of fun to watch, and a lot of the things they do
like
tend
dancing.
to be more silly, but they have a lot of weight because of their backstory with the bad guys of this season, the Ganglers, and the Lupin collection, and why they want to get, and the reasons why they want to get it are all really like heartfelt.
Yeah, it's less like the characters are very likable, and you could really relate to these characters really, really quickly. Like within like episode 3, which is like you think, oh, I'm gonna know these characters. Like
You can jump into
run.
these characters, especially for me. It's really relatable for the Pat Rangers, the Police Rangers, because they have really high expectations placed on them. They're supposed to be the best of the best, you know, and they have to be that at all times. Like if they screw up, they get chewed out, and I understand that a lot. Like being pushed towards academic success, like you have to work really hard all the time, no matter what. And I think this season does a really good job of being relatable on both sides.
So are you Team Power or Team Lupin?
Don't ask me that. I can't. I don't know. If I had to say, I'd probably say I'm Team Lupin, just because I think they're cool, and they're a reference to one of my favorite games of all time, Persona 5. But especially the Red Ranger. Oh my God, he's basically the protagonist. But I really like both teams, and I can't wait for the end of the season when they all team up.
Yeah. I really hope this inspires you to get interested in Tokusatsu. So here is like my top 5 recommendations for you to watch.
If the rest of this video hasn't told you enough about our tastes.
Exactly. If you're interested in doing watching Sentai, I obviously recommend you obviously Kaizo Sentai Gokaiger as one of them. I had a thought.
Deca Ranger?
Deca Ranger, yes.
Which is the SPD equivalent.
Then I would have to say Power Rangers RPM. And then I would have to say Power Rangers Time Force and Wild Force.
Time Force and Wild Force are really good.
Because that would be a very good option because they're all on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. And moving into Kamen Rider, my personal recommendations for that would probably be Ryuki for its Hunger Games vibe, and it's easy, just like really easy to jump into. Fours, because the main character is a goof. Honestly, reminds me of Naruto a lot, and it's just a fun, silly season to watch. Like, I'm gonna make friends with everyone is his entire goal for the whole season. And then probably Build, the newest season.
Yeah.
And to jump back a little bit, probably X-Aid, because of its video game / doctor theme, which doesn't sound like it should work, but does.
It does work. It's actually shocking. And I'm going to throw in an honorable mention. Kamen Rider Kiva, in case you people are like the love drama in this one.
It's a vampire love story, and it's still better than Twilight.
Exactly. It's really interesting how that season goes. I'm not going to spoil.
With its 2 timelines is really fun.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Having a storyline both in, I think it's 2015 and 1987.
It takes place in 2008 through 1986, I think.
Okay.
Because there's a 16-year
gap.
Yeah,
because it's with the main character and also his dad, I think.
Yeah, the main character, who is Kiva, and his dad is technically the second writer.
Even though it's
in
a different storyline.
Different storyline. And it's interesting because Kiva is going through his storyline, but then when it ships back to the other timeline, it's a whole other story. And I like how I got really invested with Otoya, the second writer. I like the storyline a little bit better.
I mean, it's always the second writer who's the cooler one, because the protagonist has to be, most of the time, the straight-laced moral one.
Yeah, and that's Build is I think a good example.
Oh, Build's the best example because everybody likes Banjo better.
Oh my God, I love Cross. I love his suit design. I love Cross Knuckles. His magma volcanic form. I'm like, oh my God, I can't.
Anyway, we've given you our recommendations, and if you already watched Toku, give us a list of your favorites down in the comments. if you don't watch Toku and you decide to start because of this video, let us know. If you hate us and you think that watching Power Rangers is for kids, let us know. We'll talk to you in the comments. Especially me, I will talk to you on my personal YouTube account in the comments. So just give us your opinion, you know, let us know. We don't care. We'll talk to you either way. This channel is for Blooming Studios.
Yep.
Watch our short films. Not just us. There's a whole big community here at Bloomsburg.
Oh my God, yes.
If you're a Bloomsburg student, I'm Sam. I'm tall. I'm blonde. Come talk to me. He's Mike.
I somewhat have hair. I donate my hair to charity.
So he's almost bald at the moment. If you see either of us on campus, we'll probably be wearing like superhero shirts or whatever.
Likewise
Come talk
with
to us.
me.
And there are Blooming Studios meetings every Thursday.
7:30.
We'll be starting up next semester.
Yep.
It'll be Thursday at 7:30 in Bakeless 304.
Yep. Exactly.
So if you feel like coming down, you can work on a short film. You can just come talk to us. Like anything you want to do.
Yeah, if you have like a special project you want to work on, like a TV series, or just want to jump on the podcast team, you know, that's A-okay with us.
Yeah, right now it's just us, but we're more than willing to have 3-4 people on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's just for one episode to talk about something you like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good place to wrap up for our first episode.
Yep.
We've plugged our channel, we've plugged our club, we've plugged Toku for like an hour.
Product placement everywhere.
Yeah, Saban, pay us. But
Give you a free shout out.
So yeah, I've been Sam.
I'm Michael.
And we're still huge nerds. Signing out.